should be obvious at this point, but I love platformers, especially the ones in 3D. Exploring levels and finding collectibles are some of my favorite moments in a 3D platformer. Sadly, unless it's Super Mario, it's not very common to see other developers venture into 3D platformers, as they tend to focus a lot on Metroidvania and precision-based platformers. Well, fortunately, I came across a 3D platformer that was under Kickstarter called Frogun, which aims to be a platformer from the PlayStation and Sega Saturn games. And so I decided to back it up, as the visuals alone caught my attention. But it did fill me with the 3D platforming itch. You play as Renetta, as you are finding her parents by exploring the ruins, caves, and pyramids. Like most platformers, Renetta can't do much other than jumping or bopping on enemies. Instead, she has her gun called the Frogun, which helps her catch hold of objects or enemies and spit them out. It also acts like a grappling hook, getting you to areas that you can't reach, and it can also pull crates and switches. In terms of collectibles, there is quite a lot to get, as there are 4 of them on each level. Scattered or hidden in pots are coins, and they come in various colors ranging from yellow to big gray ones. Next is the emeralds, which come in 2, and for the most part, they can be easily spotted, but in some cases they are well hidden and require out-of-the-box thinking. The most challenging collectible is the obsidian skull, which can be found upon completing certain level sections that will put tongue-sticking moments to a test. And finally, you have the notes, which have characters mentioning their progress and their backstories. In addition to the collectibles, you have 2 achievements at each level. One is the time trial, where you complete levels in the fastest possible time, and the no death run, which challenges you to complete a level without dying. Speaking of levels, the level design is overall straightforward, as most of them have you exploring newer sections, grabbing onto walls, and jumping into platforms. Depending on how the levels are played out, they can be a breeze if the collectibles are ignored, but are otherwise lengthy. With how generous the checkpoint placements are, it is not very difficult to make any progress, and death is very rare to face until the near end game. Unlike most platformers, where the level gimmicks offer variety to enhance the game mechanics or to make the levels stand out, Frogun does not have much variety in terms of the actual level design structure, as they play too similar to one another with few exceptions, making the levels more or less forgettable. However, while the level design may not offer much of variety, it more than makes up with it for its speedrunning. The ability to grab onto walls allows you to find shortcuts that you can complete the levels fast. The game even has the speedrun mode, which tests your skills on beating the game as fast as possible. So those who love speedrunning games will find Frogun quite entertaining. The content is also fairly juicy, having a total of 42 levels in the entire game, including a boss at the end of each stage, and 6 of them unlocked after beating the main game. Besides speedrunning, you can get the remaining collectibles in all the levels and use coins to buy art and hats. Perhaps the best thing about the game is the graphics, as they are vibrant and capture the feeling of the PlayStation and Saturn games successfully with their lower polygon models. Although the character expressions are very limited and have little to no animations other than 2 hand-drawn cutscenes. The overall audio, however, is mediocre. While not horrible, it is very simple and limited, and the same goes for the sound as well. As for the gameplay, it's not quite perfect either. One of the main problems with the game is its camera. While it is most common that 3D platformers tend to struggle with certain camera angles, and while this is apparent for Frogun, it's more than that. Unlike the other platformers where the camera would normally rotate to certain angles to attempt quick movements easier, or to see things more clearly, Frogun instead gives you the ability to rotate the camera anytime to your liking. As a result, the camera never automatically rotates when certain moments of platforming are to be executed, forcing you to rotate it while still attempting to platform. Even with the camera options the game offers you, none of them give automatic rotation of the camera. It also doesn't help that the controls are not based on analog movement. Instead, they are based on directional movements, which limit the precise controls as they are stiff. The next problem is that there are no items that can heal you. While the game may not have much of this problem later on, as you get hearts that increase your health permanently, it is quite problematic in the beginning, and the only thing that can restore your health completely is touching the checkpoints. The last problem with the game overall is how unfulfilling the collectibles are, as they do nothing other than get achievements, and do not offer anything upon completing the game 150%. And while it can be argued that it is the experience and the fun that matters, certain levels are not designed to get them only in one go. The best example is the levels where you race Jake, as you have to race him first only to get the shortcut that takes you back from the start to get the rest of the collectibles. So that is the review of Frogun. Would I personally recommend this game? Yes! Frogun may not be a well-rounded 3D platformer like the main ones out there. The camera and controls can be a bother to some, and the collectibles are a hit and miss. But Frogun is one of those 3D platformers that manages to still be fun, and 3D platformers are not a lot that you can see, unlike the ones in 2D. It's also one of the few platformers that work in speedrunning, which is its reward. Perhaps Frogun is one of those games that remind you of what it's like for 3D platformers. And if you want that nostalgia, then stick with Frogun. That is it with this review, folks. Please comment down below what games you like me to do a review of. And if you like this review, subscribe and like help my channel work around with that fancy YouTube algorithm. Have yourselves a great one, and thanks for watching Gaming Roki.